This is another Disney podcast production.
Hello, all of my favorite Disney friends. Welcome to episode 40, big milestone there, of Another Disney Podcast, which is part 2 of our 50 favorite things we love about Walt Disney World. Here we go.
As Dave said, it is the second part of our 50 favorite things about Walt Disney World. If you have not listened to episode number 1 yet, make sure you pause here.
Right here.
So there are no spoilers. Pause here. Go back to last week's episode where we talked a little bit of news, but a lot about our first 12 or 13 favorite things about Walt Disney World.
Well, technically this 25. Week, technically.
Yeah, 25 total, 12, 13 each.
Yeah.
This week we're going to finish it up. We can't leave the people hanging.
No, they're dying to know. So we'll wait. We'll just sit here and wait till you get back.
Yeah. So I think that episode was about an hour and 4 minutes. So
yeah,
we'll see you guys in an hour and 4 minutes.
Hey guys, great episode. Am I right? It was so good. All right, let's go with part 2. People are like, what are you? I watched last week and listened last week. Why are you doing this? Oh, I'm so stupid. Yes, we are. I don't know who finished last, but you know what? You're one of my favorite humans on the planet, so I'm going to let you go first with your next 25 in no particular order.
Wow.
Is that right?
That's nice of you.
Sure.
So, in no particular order, I don't even remember where we left off last time, but my next favorite thing about Walt Disney World, and this is changing just a little bit, starting with the new annual passes, but Memory Maker. It's one of my favorite things that comes with the annual pass. It's one of my favorite things that you can purchase when you're at Walt Disney World. I mean, we all have phones, we all have cameras, but there's just something about, jumping in front of the castle with your group, a professional Disney photographer taking the picture, adding magic shots.
That's right.
It's just something special from your vacation that's not on your phone.
That's right.
I love the Memory Maker. I'm super glad that we renewed like 2 weeks before it started, the new pass holder where it was an add-on. So I still have Memory Maker for almost another year. So I'm stoked about that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm through
Memory Maker.
I'm through November, so I'll have to. No, February. I'll have to piggyback on you guys for. I don't know. Who am I kidding? I probably won't even go to Disney World within that next year.
False.
February. February. Excuse me.
Is it now officially February? That's when you're coming.
Well, I mean, you remember we talked about the Daytona 500 because I've renewed that redneck part of my life. I don't know. I just have fallen in love with it. So now we have to go down this rabbit hole. So the year before I got married, I went to 9 races, like in person, went to 9 of them, like all up and down the East Coast. It wasn't like intentional. I wasn't being like, let's see how many we can go to. I just was that into it and went that many times. And until this year, I hadn't been to one since then. I'm not saying I'm old, but we've been married 20 years.
I mean, you may not be saying that you're old, but I'm going to go ahead and say you're old.
Pushing 50.
And this year you brought it up to me and you're like, how would you feel about going to the Daytona 500? And people, if you're watching on YouTube, look at me. How do you think I would feel about going to the Daytona 500?
There was a long pause. Not awkward, but there was a long pause.
It wasn't awkwardly long, but I'm going to do it, folks. I'm going to venture to the Daytona 500 with Dave.
He's in it for the beer. Don't even be like jaded. He's in it for the beer. Okay. Back on task.
Back on task.
We were joking before we started this episode that my notes for this one are pretty comical. So I'll just read it verbatim as what I wrote. Never the same, period, parentheses, Kim 4 years. All right. What's yours, Brandon? So what I meant by this is if you're a Disney fanatic anywhere close to like we are, you have that group of friends, or even if it's that one friend that's always like, how can you go to the same place all the time? Like why? Like it's the same rides. It's the same parks. It's this, and I often struggled with that. I was like, because I'm a fanatic. Have you looked up the definition? No, but in all seriousness, it is because it's each trip is so different. It's so unique. And so why I put that note in parentheses, my wife hasn't been since Christmas time of 2017. I'm not going to go back and look at the full calendar, but Brandon, let's quickly talk about just since 2017, what's different. Pandora, Animal Kingdom at night. Yeah.
Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
All of Toy Story Land, all of Galaxy's Edge.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you miss a couple of years, like the parks are drastically different. I mean, even from the start of the 50th to the end of the 50th, think of all the different things that are going to be there, right? You're going to have 2 new attractions, I'll say 2 new rides, 3 new attractions. So yes. The attraction would obviously be Moana's journey of water walkthrough area. I don't know.
Moana.
Yes,
you got
Moana.
You got Southern there,
and it would have been great to have had Cherry Tree Lane, but fingers crossed one day that'll come back. But yeah, it's just so different every time you go. Even for us crazies that go all the time, there's just always something new, something different. You may plan the trip to go and approach the trip differently, right? Maybe you're going to do a whole lot more sit down meals, where before your trips were always about, 2 days at the park, full day at the resort, 2 days at the park, go home, right? It was more broken up, there's obviously, I'm not going to go through the 800 million different ways that you can go, but yeah, it's never the same. That was my long-winded way to get to the same.
No, that's good. And that actually brings me to my next favorite thing about Disney. And my next favorite thing about Walt Disney World is the people that you meet at the parks. Whether you're waiting for a fireworks show, whether you're waiting for a live show, whether you're standing in line for a ride or an attraction, we've met so many people. If you're waiting in line for an hour, you're around the same 8 people or 6 people that are around you the whole time, and you get to talking, and we become Facebook friends with a lot of the people that we stand in line with. So, and it's cool to see when they come back to Disney World and you can meet up and you say, hey, I'm at this park. Let's just say hi. I think the furthest friend that I have on Facebook is from, I think they live in Seattle, Washington, maybe. And they have annual passes. They come here all the time. Shout out to Krista and Nick.
Dang, that's commitment.
But yeah. So that's one of my favorite things is just the people that you get to meet at the parks, which kind of plays into, it's different every time because, you go see Enchantment now or Happily Ever After before, you stand at a different place every time to watch it. So you get a different view. You can find awesome places all around the park if you're not concerned about projections on the castle. So that's one thing. And then the people you're hanging out with are different every time. So each experience is different. The people are different. I just like meeting them.
Yeah. It's funny where I thought you were going to go there is because you guys have moved there. I thought you were going from the perspective of we see all of our friends way more because obviously you live in the world's #1 travel destination. So you get to see people that either you grew up with or like maybe they come every year or every couple of years. And so you guys get to see, that's honestly where I thought you were going, but you're right. Like, I think of Brad that we met, and I reached back out to him today. I'm hoping to maybe get him on the ADP train here pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, that was one of my other ones, so it's kind of a twofer here. Is just like you said.
Oh, was it? My bad.
You're fine. We've seen way more people living in Walt Disney World than we did in Maryland. How you're always like, hey, come visit us, and you're like, oh yeah, we'll come visit, and you never go.
They never go.
If you live somewhere that's not Disney World, you say, yeah, we'll visit you, and then it never happens.
That's right.
But if you live at Disney World, everyone eventually comes to Disney World. So,
boom.
Yes, I agree. We've seen so many people. We've had so many good times in the parks with those people, and we look forward to them coming every year.
Every year. That's true. I wish I came yearly. Moving on. Okay, I am ready for the hate for this one. I am my guess is that I'm in a very small percentile of people who feel this way. So I'm ready for it. I have a reason behind it. And then Disney, like 2 weeks ago, flipped the script on me again. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay. All of that hype up is I was one of the ones that was personally excited for no more Magic Bands. I know. Here come the tomatoes already. So here's the thing. We talk about all of our consumer electronics that are filling landfills. And I know you're going to think that I'm one of these like green earth pro planet people. And I mean, if you aren't, you should be, but I'm not like over the top, but I'm like, these things are pointless, especially when I have like this Apple Watch on my wrist and this phone in my hand. Now, I'm glad they're still selling it. You know, obviously people came out with their pitchforks and spears when they were no longer free. Large gas. But I was like, good, because these things, like, I should have pulled out, like, I have a wad of like 50 of them. Now, yes, people have done really, really cool things with them and the way to decorate them. And so that's good. But like, they just end up in the trash. And so I was like, yes, finally. And then they introduced 2.0.
Then they introduced the fun, interactive Magic
So there you
bands
go.
that are, but I agree with you.
What do you do?
I'm not really huge on Magic Bands. Like you said, we have the Apple Watch on our wrist. It does pretty much everything that a Magic Band does. I did get a Magic Band when we went for our 50th trip because it was the 50th Magic Band.
Matthew did. I was the Lone Ranger. I did not.
Yeah. Other than that, I usually do not wear a Magic Band to the park just because, like, why? I don't want stuff on both wrists.
Right,
like,
for sure.
It's redundant.
So I personally don't miss them. I just don't.
I don't miss them.
But version 2, or I guess it would technically be version 3 because they changed the design of them a few years ago. So version 3 headed your way 2022. Tell your friends.
2022. More info to come about that.
That's right.
Sure. For sure. What else we got here? One of my other favorite things about any park is the level of detail and the level of immersion that all of the lands encompass. So if you think about Pandora at Animal Kingdom, you think about Toy Story Land, and you think about Batuu or Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios, like the level of detail in these lands is mind-blowing. The thing that I love the most, and it's most evident when you walk from Toy Story Land to Galaxy's Edge Batuu, is the fact that as soon as you take 3 steps into Batuu, you no longer hear any of the music, any of the sound, anything from Toy Story Land, which is still it's just 10 feet behind you.
Right.
You can no longer hear it. So I love the way that anytime you go into a land at Walt Disney World, or even if it's a different section of the park, Fantasyland, Adventureland, you feel like you've been taken from one place to another. It almost feels like there's separate parks within the park.
Yep.
So that's one of my favorite things is the true immersiveness of each land at Walt Disney World.
Another great walk, I think, is the hard left you take at the Tree of Life and you begin to head into Pandora. And that one is a little bit slower because it's a little bit longer of a walk. But I like how that slowly overtakes and transforms and turns into. It's super cool. So, definitely a great call out there for sure. Okay. I'm going to double dip here because I'm going to use everybody's 4-letter favorite word. No, Brandon, not that one. And that is free, of course. Okay. So I'm going to do one that is free for everybody and then one that's primarily focused at children, but I've found a way to get some, but don't judge me. Okay. The first one is free water. Like that's a big deal, especially in your warmer months in Florida, and that is there are several locations throughout all of the parks that will have cups of water ready and available. You can just walk up and grab it. You don't have to stand in line typically, and you can just get some free cup. Like it's basically the kids version cup of free water. And so, it's great that they'll sell you that $5 bottle of Dasani water, but you can go to most places. So I always recommend people bring their own type of thing that will last throughout the day, because you can just grab a couple of those, pour that in, and then you've got it in there and you can keep going about your merry way. So that's one of them. I mean, that's not a secret. That's just one of my favorite things. And then the other one is free stickers. There are a lot of cast members typically on the main thoroughfares, right? So Hollywood Boulevard, whatever the road is to the Tree of Life, and then of course Main Street, where they're just cast members just have free stickers for kids, all different kinds of things. I'm sitting here literally looking at the tripod. I have just one with Mickey's face on it. I have one with Woody on it, and the one that's facing me is a great story. So it says honorary custodian, and that was because I think we went in somewhere. We went into you had to have been with us that trip. I forget. We went into, what's the far left building if Tony's is at your back? So if you're looking all the way across, what's the far left? It's not guest relations. It's something else.
It's like the far left one is where they used to do, like if you shipped
yes, you could pick up your bags. Correct.
I don't know what
Correct.
the actual, I don't remember what the name of the actual building is,
but,
post office or something, but that's where you could pick up your gifts and merchandise if you shipped them to the front of the park.
The people in front of us were, had dropped like this big thing of water. And so I ran and got napkins, and Micaiah was up, so we were cleaning them up. And when the custodian cast member came up and we were helping, they were like, no, we got it, it's fine. And then so because we helped, I got that sticker, and that's like my favorite one, because that's not one that you get all the time.
No, they're not just going to hand that out on Main Street.
They're not like, here you go. So that is cherished. I've got it actually covered in clear tape so it never ever gets ripped off. Yeah, that's a weird thing to get excited about. So there was my double dip. Back to you, Brendan.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that, because I mean, there's just something about seeing, kids love stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And kids love free stuff. So when and a lot of the cast members are right at the front gate, the turnstiles where you check in, the kid gets the excitement of scanning their magic band, because kids are going to have magic bands, and then they hand them a sticker and their face just lights up. So I always call my wife creepy about this, because she always has a bag full of stickers. So when we're in line, she also likes to bestow those upon kids. So if like a kid's having a meltdown, or like mom just seems super stressed, we have princess stickers and Mickey stickers and,
I love it.
and things like that. And Krista gives those to, people in line. So I always joke her and say, you're like that creepy lady who's like, kid, you want some candy, but with stickers. And so I agree. The stickers are good, whether they're free from the cast members or free from Creepy Krista.
There you go, Creepy Krista.
Creepy
Episode
Krista.
Title.
So those are good. I enjoyed that. I like the double dip of the freeze.
Yes.
What else we got here? Sticking in, it's mostly Magic Kingdom, but sticking in the parks, obviously. Another thing, and they're coming back slowly, is the live shows.
Yes.
So I love the stage shows at Magic Kingdom. They're super short. They're super fun. You don't have to, normally you don't have to camp out 45 minutes before to see them. So I love those. Even things as small as the Jedi Training Academy at Hollywood Studios.
Yes.
I love watching kids do that. It's always hilarious, because there's always one kid who just whacks the crap out of Darth Vader.
That's my favorite.
Kylo Ren. Before they're like, all right, now you gotta swing, duck, jump, swing. And the kid just goes up there and just wails on Darth Vader.
Too many instructions.
It's always hilarious. Everyone always dies laughing. So that's always one of my favorites. I love the Beauty and the Beast show at Hollywood Studios. It's super funny right now because it's socially distanced Beauty and the Beast. So like after the Beast turns into the Prince, they reach for each other from like 10 feet away.
Oh,
and they're like, yeah, it's super awkward. If you haven't had a chance, go on. I think on YouTube, if you just type socially distanced Beauty and the Beast Hollywood Studios,
of course,
it's hilarious.
It's
cringeworthy. But hey, it's what they got to do. So I love the live shows. Every park, whether they're characters, Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular. I love the live entertainment.
Kite tails.
Kite tails. It's a mixture between live and
That's right.
flipped over jet skis.
Flipped over jet skis for the win.
For the win.
Okay, yes. Shows. Which I feel like there was some news this week that there was some movement or something was going on with the Phantasmic Theater.
Phantasmic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kept seeing something like construction pace is increasing.
That was
Disney's still quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It still baffles me. Like, we all thought that would be the first show to come back. Like, it's the perfect show.
It's the perfect show.
Huge amphitheater, and it's probably going to be the last one back. So,
meanwhile, Kite Tales. Oh, moving on. Okay.
Storm.
This one I was pretty excited about. Just because it's weird, like me. I don't know, but it is something that is so unique to any other theme park destination in the world, and that is that you can take boats to theme parks. Like, that is just, I don't know, there's just something about it that's so cool. It's so unique. So whether it is not even the theme parks, you can also do Disney Springs. So depending on where you're staying, they have boat transportation to and from a resort to Disney Springs. Most of the except Contemporary. I don't think Contemporary has a boat, but
during normal times, if you stay at Contemporary, you can take a boat between Contemporary. No, they do, because you can go from Fort Wilderness to Contemporary and then Contemporary to Magic Kingdom. During this time, they are not running, but during normal times, there is a boat from Contemporary.
But yeah, you can hit those monorail resorts. We actually did a fun little boat ride from the boardwalk to Hollywood Studios when we were there for the 50th. Yeah. And so it's just so different. Like, most of the places, Disney also is the same in this, but you park 48 miles away and you walk through this, like concrete jungle through a parking lot and into the theme park. But Disney, all of their modes of transportation, but I just think that the boat is so wildly different than anything else of how to get to like a fun day at a park. So
yeah, and I agree. I love the boat transportation, and what makes it so unique is that there's so many different kinds of boats, right? Mm-hmm. There's, when you're going to the Magic Kingdom from TTC, you got the giant ferry, double decker, holds lots of people. When you're going from Grand Floridian or Polynesian to the Magic Kingdom, you got a nice, small, intimate little boat that maybe holds 20, 25 people. So I agree with you. The boat transportation is super fun. I usually opt for that option.
Yeah, for real.
If the lines aren't crazy, but not only is there boat transportation, but there's so many different types of boat transportation that it's super unique. So I agree.
And there's some crazy things, like, so a couple of things have happened that I don't think anybody was expecting. And one, we talked about it briefly, but they have created because the boats going to the Magic Kingdom from the TTC are bi-leveled, and so now they have an exit off of the top level of the boat, and so that's fairly new. And then also they just added a boat to their fleet. I don't remember where is it in Seven Seas Lagoon. I don't remember where it's at, but yeah, brand new boat. Like, who'da thunk? Let's add a boat to the fleet. So yeah, super cool.
Yeah, awesome. I love that mode of transportation.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. What else we got here? So we are just chugging through on our favorite things at Disney World. My next favorite thing at Walt Disney World takes us to the magical land of Epcot.
Yes.
I love the World Showcase at Epcot. The whole thing in its entirety. It's just fun. It's fun to walk around. You get to experience, when the cast members are here from all over the world.
Yeah.
It definitely, it's still cool right now, but they don't have all those people here now. So when you have the people, working in Italy from Italy, we all know my affinity for the British accent. So I love when they have the actual people from the United Kingdom working in the United Kingdom. I just love it. It's fun. There's been plenty of nights where we just go to Epcot just to take a lap around the World Showcase. We don't really do anything. We don't go eat anywhere. We may pick up a beverage or a snack somewhere, but we just walk around. And so I think it's just very unique. So other theme parks have a smaller version of it. But it is definitely a place that you can spend an entire day in and probably not do everything.
No, there's so many hidden things in each one of those countries. It's insane. Yeah.
So World Showcase.
Yeah. So I have an off the beat one. I don't know if that makes sense.
Off the beaten path.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm not going to link them together, but I'll do them back to back. It's like, okay, words. The ESPN Complex. It is an absurd facility. First of all, it's gargantuan. Like, I think that's a real word. And they have some really, really cool events there, right? Like, isn't that where the NBA played when they shut down? So you got that. Bubble. There used to be obviously all of the cheer competition stuff. There's baseball Little League World Series, yes or no?
No, not there's like whatever the football version's Pop Warner.
Pop Warner.
Baseball version of it is
something like
had their
that.
tournament there. Yeah.
I used to work with a guy at Apple who was a coach here locally, and they won like back to back whatever their division was at, and so they got to go to ESPN both times and play in that tournament and won 2 years in a row. And so it's a mammoth, gargantuan, I got to stick with that word, facility, but it's just super cool, and they use it for some other things that I'll talk about in my next one. But yeah, the ESPN Sports Complex, I'll be curious to see what, obviously that worked out brilliantly during COVID for the NBA, but it'll be interesting to see how, since I guess the only way to say it, they either didn't renew or they lost the contract with the like cheerleader people. So it'll be interesting to see, some different things that they do.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I love that place too. Before COVID, it was great. Maryland came down and played in a tournament. They had a college basketball tournament. Usually, hopefully that'll come back. But Maryland came down, played in that tournament, won that tournament. So it was kind of cool to be able to go see like my hometown team at Disney in a very small venue. The gym there is super small, so it almost felt like being at a high school game. But it was, full D1 college. So it was a cool experience. And the cool thing, when they had the Platinum Plus Pass, which is what we had, it included entry into ESPN Complex.
Oh, wow.
So otherwise, if I didn't have that, when I went to see the Maryland game, I would have had to pay to get into the ESPN.
Oh, dang. Even that event. Dang, that's awesome. I did not know that.
So my pass got me in there with, I don't know if they're going to bring that back, but that was a good benefit.
Epic.
And it's not one that you would think about. You're not like,
right,
I'm going to go over to the ESPN Complex today and just see what's going on.
Right.
They got restaurants over there.
Yep.
They got I think there's an arcade over there. So there's some things to do other than just go watch sporting events.
Yes.
That was a cool place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's your next one?
My next one is...
if you're going in the order, this is a biggie.
Yeah, this is a biggie. And it never ceases to amaze me. It's Cinderella Castle.
I know you didn't say iridescent, but I thought it fit.
It fit. It is Cinderella Castle. So whether you are on the ferry boat, whether you are on the monorail, there's just something about that castle coming into view that just takes you back to the first time you saw it. I love the castle. Like we did I think we did our pick one time to get rid of the beacons, and I would never get rid of Cinderella Castle. It's just, I will always take a picture in front of it with whoever we are with. I will always stop and look at it at night before we leave. It's just one of my favorite buildings in the world. So yeah, Cinderella Castle.
Yeah, not a lot to say about perfection, right? I'm just saying.
No, it's perfect.
Yeah. So, okay, the second part of my ESPN Complex kind of, and that is Run Disney events. They are finally coming back this fall. I think the Wine and Dine is actually going to be in person again. But back when I was super skinny, Brandon and I ran quite a bit when he lived here. I mean, like 3-4 times a week and at least once a week together for a stint. We ran a half marathon together and like a whole, anyway. So that used to be like my jam. Well, in 2017, I had the unique privilege. It was the 10th anniversary of Run Disney as a whole. And so Kim and I flew out to Anaheim, and I did the light side half marathon, which was in February. I think it was January or February, probably February. And then in April at Walt Disney World in Florida was the dark side half marathon. So what was cool is I got all of those medals. They're actually hanging right there. And because if you do 2 races on different Disney properties, meaning like not like Animal Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, but like if you do somewhere else in the country or world, you get a different type of medal. And so it was the 10th anniversary of the Coast to Coast medal. And so why I got to do that is because within the same calendar year, I ran in Disneyland and I ran in Orlando. And so that was a really, really cool event. And so the first time that I ever went to the ESPN Complex was to pick up like all the credentials and shop for all of the merch and stuff that was for the Run Disney event like that weekend. And it was held at that massive gargantuan facility, the ESPN Sports Complex. And so there was nothing to do with the race there at all. It was just kind of where you pick up your packet and get all the things. But yeah, man, I am really glad. I know that is a huge community that is Run Disney people. And so I'm excited that, assuming everything goes well with the Wine and Dine, that the Walt Disney World Marathon will be back in early January. And so, yeah, so Run Disney events. If you ever get the opportunity to do one, even if you're not a runner, do a 5K. They're really, it's a whole different way. Like they have cast members all over the place taking pictures. Depending on what race that you run, you get to run at least through a park, maybe multiple parks. So it's a unique way to also see backstage at some of the parks. Yep. When I did the half marathon, I think it started in the Magic Kingdom parking lot, went to Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and finished at Epcot. And so it was cool to see, and you didn't enter like through the main gates of any of those parks. So it was really cool to kind of see behind the curtain, if you will. I mean, it wasn't pretty. It was just backstage, but it was cool. Like so for example, the way we came into Epcot is, I forget what road that is. It leads to some of the DVC resorts, and then you'll come at a stop sign or stoplight. If you turn right, there's like the back entrance to Epcot where you would enter right where Test Track is. Well, that's the road we came down. So we got to run like underneath the Test Track. And then all the like Chevrolet cars were like, we didn't run in between it, but they were all like red. So it was kind of unique to be like, hey, you only ever see this like from the attraction. And so it was kind of cool to enter the park that way. And then we finished up in the parking lot, but you ran by Spaceship Earth, took a right, and then that was the half marathon. So yeah, Run Disney events. Yeah. Super cool.
Yeah. And those are fun. Super fun event. They're always lighting off fireworks. There's music blasting. We went to support a couple of our friends, Brittany and Brooke.
Yeah.
And it was amazing how many people were there, like cheering.
Oh gosh, yes.
Obviously people come down and they make a vacation of it. So they're out there supporting their people. But usually there's a 5K or a 10K and there's 20 or 30 people at the finish line,
right?
And, clapping. And here there were just hundreds, and everybody would cheer for everybody. And I love the Disney ones because everybody wears costumes and everybody has their outfits. So it's not only fun to cheer on your people, but it's also fun to see who's coming by in their crazy outfits and costumes. So.
I think when I ran in Disneyland, like I stopped and took a picture like at every mile marker, I think, and I was sending it to you guys. I think if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Good times.
Super fun. Super good time. What else? We're still plugging along. Wow. We still have a lot more than I thought.
We have like 13 left. Lucky 13.
Gosh.
Let's go.
We got a bunch left. So my next thing at Walt Disney World that is Also one of my favorite things. And some people abuse it and some people expect it, but it's still one of my favorite things. And that is what we like to call Disney magic. Some people call it pixie dust. So how it usually works is, say you're there, you have a birthday button on, you go to buy a Mickey ice cream bar, you go to scan your magic band, and the cast member says, "Happy birthday, that's on us." Or, you go, some people go to check into their hotel and they booked Pop Century, and somehow they got a magical call and they're moved to Grand Floridian in some sort of crazy suite. So whether it's something super small like a Mickey bar, something super big like getting a room that you didn't expect, it's the pixie dust. And that's what sets Disney World apart from other amusement parks, other theme parks. Like if you go to Hershey Park, you go to Busch Gardens, Six Flags, I can probably promise you that they're not going to give you anything free.
Negative.
It's not happening. It's just not going to happen. So that's what I love about Disney. And usually it's for kids. I mean, usually they'll do it for kids, but it happens to adults as well. But I love the pixie dust at Disney World.
We have a couple of stories that I think I have felt it more during two instances, and both you were with me. So the first one was the first time that we brought Micaiah, and that was back when the Frozen celebration was going on, and at Hollywood Studios you stood on Hollywood Boulevard, and they had these big screens, but of course you had the cast of Frozen, and they were doing the songs, and it was a big sing-along, and then it snowed right there on Hollywood Boulevard. But Micaiah was on my shoulders, and she was singing Let It Go at the top of her lungs. And
that girl was singing.
For those of you who don't know my daughter, dramatic is a good word. I mean, she was into it, the hands and all of this kind of stuff, going nuts. And so it finished. It's snowing on Main Street. We're all looking around. Here comes this cast member with this doll that is Anna and Elsa, depending on how. So it was a 2-in-1. So if you held it with Anna up, it had her dress. It was the pretty icy blue dress. And then you flip it over and then you pull the dress down. I know that sounds weird, but now it's Anna and her pretty dress. And so a cast member, she was just like, "Hey, you won the most into it award," and something, I forget what she said, but I was like, "What? We just got a $20 plush. Are you kidding me?"
And that's one of the times that Kimberly was actually there.
Yes.
And we all kind of just looked at each other like, how did the cast member, this cast member was not close to us. This cast member was not beside us.
Hundreds of people standing in the street. It was basically like a fireworks show.
And this cast member comes from, I don't know, 40 feet away. And she's just like, Elsa wanted you to know that she saw you singing.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And you were super into it. So she wanted you to have this gift. And I think that's when we were like, we love Disney World. Disney World can do no wrong.
That's right.
That was amazing.
We've gotten rid of, or my daughter has gotten rid of several things that were little kiddie. She still has those. I think that. And then the other one was more of a, I just said something being really goofy. So we get off of Tower of Terror and the door opens, and we had to have been in the front row or maybe in the back. I don't know. Everybody kind of left. And
I think we were in the back because we were the last people.
The last ones. And I stood there and I looked at the guy, and he's like, maybe they said, "I hope you enjoyed your stay," or something like that. Whatever one of the the clever lines that they say that the cast member is being super creepy says. And now I look around, I'm scratching my head, and I was like, "Sir, we never found our room." And he was like, "You didn't? Hold on a sec. Come with me." And the next thing we know, we're being whisked through this door. We get in this elevator, up we go. And the next thing we know, we're standing back at the front of the queue, and he puts us on the ride again. I was like, "What?"
Yeah, the elevator doors opened and we're at the numbers.
Yes.
If you've been on Tower of Terror, it opened and we're staring at a whole crowd of people.
I was like, what is going on?
And they were like, "Number 1, sir."
Yes. And so we still didn't find our room, but we got to ride it again back to back. Super cool.
Super fun.
Good times. Okay. Man, there's so many stories with all of our things. Anyway, this one is something that I never expected to happen. It was not my first time there, but I didn't remember it because it was over 40 years. Holy smokes, I'm old. Since I had been there. My very first trip to Walt Disney World, my mom and dad drove. I was 5 years old, and we stayed at Fort Wilderness at the campground. And so Brandon and Krista 2 years ago, decided that, like, found out about this whole thing, like staying on the campground, and basically you can, you could basically like Airbnb a camper, for lack of a better term. Right. And so we got to they got to stay at the campground, and they invited me. So we all slept in a camper, right on property, right at Fort Wilderness. It was right in between like Thanksgiving and Halloween time. So there was still tons of, but you want to talk about Disney themed things that are done by people and not Disney. Holy cow. If you can ever stay near the holidays at Fort Wilderness, it is worth it like you wouldn't believe. And that's what's cool, is you don't have to have a camper. You can work with these companies where basically you paid somebody, right? And they brought the camper, they set it up. You guys handed everything off, done. You were done. Yeah, and so we stayed there.
Essentially like renting a hotel room.
That's right. A floating Airbnb.
We found the camper. They set it up. They hooked it up. They hooked up electricity, sewer, water.
Everything.
When you show up, there's bedding on all the beds. There's silverware and dishes in the camper. So yeah, we thought it would be fun to. Yeah. Krista and I had done it a couple times. We got super into camping at Fort Wilderness when COVID first hit, and we were like stuck at home because this was outside. It was something to do that wasn't like stuck in a building. So I think we went like August, September, October, November, December, something ridiculous. But we thought it would be fun to invite you so you could experience it. And man, we had a good time driving around, looking at all the lights. Like Dave said, I mean, some of these setups are ridiculous.
Insane.
I mean, some people go to Fort Wilderness for 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
And they set up their site, and it's like a walkthrough of the inflatables.
Yes.
Like you walk all the way around their camper and their site, and they have hundreds of inflatables, thousands of lights. But it's a lot of fun. You rent a golf cart, you do what's called looping. You get yourself a beverage, and you drive around and look at everybody's stuff.
Yeah, it was super cool. So I guess it was kind of a twofer. It was the campground. Definitely go stay at Fort Wilderness, but it was also how people decorate like their sites for the holidays. Insane. I'll never forget that. I would do that again in a heartbeat.
We're going to try this year. It's a little more popular now.
Yes.
Especially for Halloween coming up. They overbooked Fort Wilderness. Mm-hmm. So they were calling people saying, hey, we overbooked. We want to offer an upgrade to our moderate resort. I think they were doing like Caribbean Beach Resort and Port Orleans because that Riverside just opened. And then French Quarter opens at the end of the month. Yes, beignets. But yeah, they overbooked because so many people want to be there to experience Halloween and the holidays. So definitely fun.
Good times.
My next one goes kind of along with the Pixie Dust, and I talked about it in there. It's just Mickey shaped food. I love Mickey shaped food. Like Mickey bars, Mickey ice cream sandwiches, Mickey pretzel. There's just something about eating something in the shape of a Mickey Mouse that makes it better. I mean, I would go to the store and buy an ice cream sandwich that's, shaped like the normal ice cream sandwich long. It's not as good. It doesn't taste as good.
Not the same.
That one's kind of short and sweet, but I just love Mickey shaped food.
You can't go wrong. I had which is so funny. I didn't have a lot of treats when the 50th, which is weird. No. But I don't know that I typically do. I don't know if I do or not. Anyway, but I had a Mickey shaped pretzel, that, and I had that plastic cheese that Brandon calls it. Please reach out to us. The cheese is amazing. Brandon just doesn't like cheese at all, so he can't judge the salty goodness of the plastic cheese. That's warm. Oh, so good.
It just looks awful.
Yes.
It just looks awful.
Okay. Mine is weird, but it gets better. So another thing that I love kind of goes back to how it's different every time you visit Disney. And that is right now there's a brand new attraction, but there are many, many more coming. And so Ratatouille just opened for the 50th. I mean, I guess we could call, well, I shouldn't say, there's new attractions. There's new fireworks shows. There's new stage shows. I guess we can call Kite Tails a stage. I guess the water is a stage. And then Ratatouille. And of course, we know that the Tron is coming. And of course, they finally put a year. They didn't put a date. They put a year on the Guardians of the Galaxy ride.
Galaxy. Yeah.
And then
I'm in 22.
Lastly, the Moana Journey of Water. So yeah, I'm just excited for new attractions because again, that's going to make the next time we go different again. And so new attractions and more coming. That's my next one.
Dig it. And I'll stick on the subject of attractions, and I'll go with my favorite attraction. If you've listened to our show, you know that my favorite ride is Splash Mountain. When I didn't live here, somebody said you could fly down there, ride any ride, fly home.
Yeah,
what would it be? Splash Mountain, 100%. It's still the same. If I could just drive to Magic Kingdom, walk to the back of the park, ride Splash, come back home, go to sleep, I would still do it. So one of my favorite things at Walt Disney World is the picture or the view from the top of the hill on Splash Mountain before you go down, plunge into the Laughing Place, for two reasons. One, it's the best view. The castle's there. You can see down onto Frontierland. So you get a great overview of the park. And also, next time you're there, check out the hidden Mickey that's at the top of right before the drop. It's a side silhouette of Mickey, so you see his nose, you see his eyes and his mouth, but right before you go down, I'll try to find a picture of it. Maybe we'll put it up on the screen or in the show notes for you.
Boom.
But that's one of my favorite things. I take a picture. I've ridden it hundreds, maybe thousands of times. I take a picture from up there every single time we ride it. So the view from Splash Mountain right before the plunge, one of my favorite things at Disney.
Bonus during a fireworks show. Definitely
Correct.
A bonus. All right, moving along. My next one, again, kind of different. And that is how vast the property is at Walt Disney World. Florida is set up and is more unique than any other Disney park in the amount of land and space that they bought. It's kind of like they opened Disneyland, and the one thing that drove Walt crazy was he was just out of space, right?
Yeah.
And so, because the city built in around him, which I know that he loved because it just brought more people there, but then when it was time to expand, he just didn't have a lot of places to go. So they went nuts in Orlando, and they have, I could just imagine how many more gates they could actually open based on the space that they have. But believe it or not, kind of a lesser known thing, there is like acres and acres and acres of protected wetlands. And so I love that Disney, has that space and has, that protected wetlands and, obviously is honoring that and making that a part of who they are in their story, but they still have plenty of room for gates if they wanted to. So I just love how, just the vast expanse that is Walt Disney World, because it'll always be in the back of my mind is like they have plenty of room to grow and you never know what could come next. So yeah, that's my next one. Love that part about, especially if you've been to Disneyland, dude, it's, you're trapped in the city.
Yes. From what I've heard, I'm hoping to go there next year.
Let's do it.
I will be able to experience it. But you speaking of the size, I read something this week. I forget even why I was skimmed over it, but Walt Disney World in Florida is the size of San Francisco.
Yeah, it's insane.
I mean,
that's a big city.
That's a big area. So, yeah, I mean, if you just drive, it's got all the signs you come in underneath from all the different roads. And I mean, you could drive around Disney property for hours and still be on Disney property, going in all the resorts and stuff. So I agree.
Good stuff.
Getting
down to the nitty gritty. Our last
getting down to the nitty gritty. 6 to go. So I'm going to say wrapping it up here, getting towards the end, another one of my favorite things at Walt Disney World is, I said food earlier, but I'm going to be a little more specific here. I'm going to say the restaurants at the monorail resorts. And what I mean by those is the Grand Floridian Cafe at Grand Flo, Ohana, or where's the Tonga Toast? I'm drawing a blank right now. What's the name of that restaurant?
I cannot remember it because I've never been there.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, where you get the Tonga Toast.
Where you get the Tonga Toast. And then the California Grill at the Contemporary. California Grill has become one of our favorite places to go. My mom is going to be in town this week. So when you hear this, we will have eaten at the California Grill because I want my mom to experience eating there, one, and two, watching the fireworks show from there. Resort restaurants around Magic Kingdom has become one of my favorite things to do when guests come in. Yeah. We love to take them there.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, I remember just how different that is from when we first started going, right? We were young couples desiring to spend as many hours in the park as we could, would eat at quick service and back out. And, and of course, as you get older and you guys, you live there, it start to experience different things, restaurants and stuff is a way to do that, and so I have grown to appreciate that for sure. Just all of the different places that I got to eat at 3 brand new places this 50th trip. So I was pretty excited about that. So yeah, that's a good one. Okay. Yes. My next one is water parks. So this isn't uniquely different. There are tons of theme parks that have added water park. I mean, the Universal right down the road has an incredible one. I even think of, we have King's Dominion near us in Richmond, and within their roller coaster theme park, there is a water park, inside the park. That's a separate ticketed, park, but it's literally in the middle of the park. It's crazy. But I just love when they're open, I love that, obviously how over the top Disney themed that they are, and to be able to have, it's hot in Florida, and so hot. To be able to go and spend a day at a theme park, and it's significantly cheaper, obviously, than the other parks. Our friend Audrey from Plan for the Magic, they went on their resort only trip. They didn't go to any parks, but they did go to the water park. And so, which one is open? Typhoon Lagoon?
Blizzard Beach.
Blizzard Beach. Yeah. And so, I mean, they had nothing but, it was their first time. They had nothing but high marks for it. So yeah, just Disney's water parks, it's going to be a step above, kind of everything else that's out there. And so it's just another facet too. So now if you think about it, that's 6 total parks in Orlando that are Disney, or I guess I should say 6 gates. Well, yeah, it's a water park. Yeah. That works.
Yeah, it's a park.
So yeah, water parks.
Yeah. And they filled up the wave pool and the lazy river at Typhoon Lagoon.
Here we go.
So the good news is it doesn't look like Ecto Cooler anymore, and that could be opening soon. Yeah. Now, what they usually do at Disney is that very rarely or for very short time, both water parks are open at the same time. Usually it's in the summer, and then in the winter time, one of them will shut down for refurbishment while the other one stays open. So I have a feeling that as we get towards winter time, Blizzard Beach may shut down, and then they'll bring Typhoon Lagoon back in all its glory to stand on its own.
So yeah, Typhoon Lagoon coming back. No,
coming back.
They have cleared out all the antifreeze that they dumped from the trams.
Correct.
That they're not running.
Correct. And my next one, it kind of goes along with the water parks, and it's things that people don't really think about when they come to Disney. There's 2 awesome mini golf courses. I love them. There's one called Winter Summerland Golf Course. That's kind of over by Blizzard Beach. And then there's Fantasia Gardens, which is over by the Swan and the Dolphin and Boardwalk. So they're super fun. Winter Summerland's Christmas themed, and then Fantasia Gardens. There's not really a huge amount of theming, but it is one of the hardest miniature golf courses I've ever seen. There's bunkers, and there's hills, and there's longer grass and par 5s and all sorts of crazy stuff for a golf course, but it's super fun. So the mini golf courses are another one of my favorite things out here. I wish I could
done it. I highly recommend it. I remember way back in the day when you stayed on property and you got multi-day pass. I don't know what the trick was, but there was always like a free round of mini golf. And so I remember doing that years ago. And it is, you can imagine, it looks phenomenal. It's a really crazy course, and it has obviously the Disney charm to it for sure. Okay. My next to last one is resort specific merch. And so I love that. So, I have sad news that we have on our refrigerator. I think from the time we took Micaiah, we have every single year. And like, we always get the refrigerator magnet that had the 2x2 picture square in it, so we could put a picture from that specific trip or that specific year, because let's be honest, most years ago multiple times, so we just pick a picture. And Kim has pulled them off the refrigerator and put them in a bag. The nerve. I think they're going to have to transition to my office at the studio, and I will put them on there. But we stayed at Pop, and it had been years since we'd stayed at Pop. And that's a place that we stayed at as a family. And so I got the Pop magnet for the fridge, but I just love that almost all of the resorts, every resort I've ever stayed at, they have something that's resort specific, even as simple as a magnet, and something can be even shirts. Like I know they had Pop Century shirts when we were there. And if you go anywhere up and down Boardwalk, you can see the Boardwalk Hotel. There's tons of different options for resort specific merch. And obviously as you get into the deluxe resorts, there's even more options, and they're a little fancier things. I think the Pop Century one was a tie-dye t-shirt, I think is what it was. But again, it's cool. It's just something unique and different that like, oh, I stayed there. I want to get a shirt commemorating my stay. I want a magnet because we stayed here. And so I love that kind of different thing that, obviously you can't get a Pop Century magnet at World of Disney in Disney Springs. I'm just saying.
No.
So I like that they have those uniquely specific things to each resort. So that's my next to last one.
Yeah. And the thing that was just crazy here was Fort Wilderness. They put out specific Fort Wilderness merchandise. So they had a Fort Wilderness magic band that people were going nuts for. Like it would be on the Facebook page in the morning. There's 7 Fort Wilderness magic bands, and 10 minutes later they'd be gone. And people were offering to pay people who were at Fort Wilderness hundreds of dollars to buy one and send it to them.
Insane.
And it was just crazy. So
it's a cult.
I mean, Disney knows what they're doing.
Oh yeah.
They know that their cult members will snatch up that
flock.
Stuff.
They will flock.
Yes.
Love it.
So my last one, and I had a whole bunch of different other ones that I probably was going to say. And, I'm going to echo something that Dave said much earlier in episode part 1 of this. Is my most favorite thing about Disney is just the magic that you feel and the memories that you make. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's just, I moved here for that, we got an annual pass living in Maryland. You have an annual pass living in Virginia because we love the magic. We love the memories, and we just love being here. So, even though you already said it earlier, that's my number one favorite thing about Disney World, is that I never feel bad. If I'm in a bad mood, the minute I walk into the gate of any of the parks, I'm immediately in a better mood. So it's just a magic. It makes you feel good. It makes you want to come back.
Yes.
It makes you want to invite other people. It's just a place where everyone's happy. I mean, generally everyone is happy.
Unless you're under 6 and need a nap.
Yes. Unless you need a nap, or unless you're over 40 and
need a nap.
But yeah, that's my number one favorite thing about Disney, is just the magic that you feel, and then the memories that you make.
When Dave and Kim are old and gray, and Krista and Brandon no longer talk to us and hate our guts, they'll never be able to take away that, those stupid Daniels kids, they're the ones that turned us on to Disney.
That is correct.
And now
I will
you
never
live
forget
there.
that.
Crazy.
So thank you.
Crazy. Oh man, such a pleasure. Welcome to the addiction party. Okay. And again, these were not in any particular order, as Brandon's was much more special than mine is going to be. And that one is, I love the annual passes. I There's nothing special about them. Every theme park in the world offers them. Even traveling carnivals, I think you can pay a certain amount and and come as much as you want during the length of their stay. So even the carnies know the advantage. But I just love like being an annual pass holder. I love having the opportunity to know that like, hey, I can go for 4 days and it won't cost me $600. I mean, of course I'm going to spend that money somewhere else, but I just like the opportunity, and the perks are still there. They still have decent amount of perks. And, you know, it's nice when you go out to eat and the restaurant supports that. It's nice when you buy any of this crazy expensive merch that we always get, that you get, what is it, 20 or 25% off? I can't remember.
20.
Yeah. And so I love annual passes at Disney, and I love being a pass holder. There's just something about it. I like that. I like how it offers me to go more often. Shoot, I said offers and often. That was weird. I like how it affords me to go more often. I mean, obviously you need to look at how frequently you're going to go, of whether it makes sense for you. But pretty much if you can go if you can go 7 or 8 days, that it basically pays for it in a year. It
definitely pays for itself
in a year.
Absolutely.
So that is our list of not top 50, but 50 favorite things about Walt Disney World.
Yes. That was amazing.
It was good. It took 2 shows. It was great.
It did take 2 shows.
And look, even that one took an hour. Good grief.
God, man, we're very passionate about Disney.
Yeah, we are.
I guess we love to talk about it. It's probably a good thing that we do a podcast about it. It would be all bottled up inside, and
what would we do?
Our wives would get tired of us.
They would be like, please stop talking about this, please, forever. But thank you guys for being a part of this journey with us. We love it. We love it. And that was our 50. We would love to hear some of yours. Email us, call us. All that information is always in our description, no matter where you watch or listen. And so we would love to hear your favorite things about Disney. Hey, what is the date? So it's the 18th. I'm trying to think. We've been invited to be a guest on someone's show. I don't want to ruin it yet, but that's coming up. We're recording that, the 26th? So
yes.
Yeah, a little over a week.
Yeah, a little over a week, and I think it's playing at the end of that week.
Yeah, so I'm excited. So we will give you some details.
More info about that later.
Yeah, we'll give you details next week. Oh, we recorded really early. We're probably why it sounds so. After Friday, it'll be like, when you hear this, it'll be like next Tuesday in a few days. We're recording that episode with the mystery guest, or
the people.
We'll be the people that the people.
The people. We're building it up so like big.
I know. If you've listened to our show forever, these are no strangers to the ADP family.
They are not.
I'm excited. B-Palm, I hope you enjoy the time with your mother. I'm jealous that yet again you're going to California Grill.
Yes.
It's going to be amazing, I know.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. One time when you come down, we'll have to drag you there.
Boom sauce. Kicking and screaming and house payment later. I'm in. Let's go.
That's right. That's right.
Well, because I have an annual pass, I can afford to go now.
That's right.
I must sleep in your car out front, though.
That's okay. You can sleep at my house.
Perfect.
Where it's free.
I love it. All right, peeps. Until next time.
All right. Until next time.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.